It's a pleasure to welcome to our program from MD Connected, a very fine person we've had the pleasure of knowing now for a while. Megan Henderson, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thanks for bringing this client to us. First of all, how are things in the Megan Henderson world? You're locked down and you're doing your job out of your home these days, I know.
This is true. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of months, but yeah, my husband and I are both locked down. He's working from home. I'm working from home. So that's been an interesting experience, but we're getting by. There's been no bloodshed.
No. Yeah. Well, that's funny. All us couples in quarantine. About a month and a half ago, I tweeted that my lady and I, we've gotten to the paint the bedroom stage of the pandemic. So I don't know. Have you done some home stuff, or are you just kind of leaving it alone, or?
I mean, we've lived in this place for almost 4 years, and I just finally hung all the pictures on the walls that have been sort of laying against a back wall for the last 3.5 years. And I thought, you know what? Now's the time to hang them.
Exactly. Now we should do something.
Yeah.
Megan, have you increased your bubble at all in your situation?
We literally just yesterday increased our bubble to my best friend and her husband, because we both have autoimmune disorder, so we're both immune compromised, and so we've been, she and I are both very careful about stuff like that. But we decided, because we're both so safe, we can be safe with each other. So it was nice. It's the first person I've hugged outside of my husband in 3 months, which is weird to say, but so true.
Well, my eldest daughter just moved in with me for a while, and I'd been seeing her. She was in quarantine. She came back from New York, but I hugged her, I guess, on Saturday for the first time, because she's now part of my isolation pod. But let's talk about, Megan's been on the show before talking, in the medical cannabis space, but MD Connected is the client now. And let's talk a little bit about MD Connected and the relationship to medical cannabis, and how people will be able to connect in order to get medical cannabis prescriptions for any number of things. And that's where we'll start this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great team and a great company, and I'm really excited to be a part of the team. The team really, it's about the full circle of care, right? And so often with medical cannabis, what we see is a lot of physicians aren't yet comfortable prescribing it. And then folks have a hard time, getting access to it. I mean, it's been around for 19 years, legal in this country. So it's unfortunate that that's still the case, but we're starting to see research catch up. But what we wanted to do, and what the team has done, is really said, we're physicians, we're a telehealth company. We want people to have access to medical cannabis just like any other prescription. There should be no shame in it. It shouldn't be difficult to access. And because we are physicians treating for other things, MD Connected is there for all kinds of treatment, not just medical cannabis. We have virtual walk-ins. We have physical walk-ins in Ontario, clinics, that is. And then we've also added specialties like medical cannabis. So, what we want to do is provide that full circle of care for folks, and especially medical cannabis patients who are using this sometimes because they've gone through every other medication and treatment and they can't find something that works, right? Just like yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said something you said something interesting, if I may just interject, that a lot of regular GPs aren't, they obviously they know about it, but they're not educated in exactly what you can prescribe medical cannabis for. And MD Connected has a series of physicians that are very versed in what conditions can be helped, and the dosage as well. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, we've built a team basically for the medical cannabis where we have experienced cannabis educators, we have experienced nurses and physicians who are all working collectively to provide the best care to those patients. So, and we're adding additional specialists all the time. So we've added dermatologists, we've added urologists, we have psychiatrists, etc. So if you have anxiety and depression, we have psychiatry as well as the medical cannabis, so we can treat it as, really fulsome and holistically, right? And the other thing that we're doing is we're adding, like I said, more specialists all the time. You know, if our goal is to have neurologists and cardiologists and all of those specialties to really be able to help people manage this on a day-to-day. And because it's telehealth, if you are, you know, having issues with mobility or any of those things, you don't have to leave the house, which makes it super, super helpful for those folks. And, you know, we've talked about this before, but there's a stigma still associated to this. And so for a lot of people, they don't want to be seen going into a cannabis clinic or something like that. So again, this alleviates that stigma for those folks. And we've actually partnered with Medical Cannabis by Shoppers for this. And, you know, I know you guys know, you know, about what they've been doing, but from a patient standpoint, I think it's really great. And for our purposes, we really felt like they aligned with our values as a healthcare company. And, you know, one of the things we've seen and heard from a lot of patients is that when you're going to certain clinics who may have licensed producers as investors, sometimes it's hard to get directed to the licensed producer that you want. Sometimes you get pushed into a certain lane. And what we like and felt really strongly about was the variety that Shoppers offers in terms of the different number of licensed producers they have, and that there's choice. And from our perspective, if you don't want to use Shoppers, that's okay. We'll direct your medical document wherever you want to go. We are not biased to anybody in particular. We're very neutral, which is kind of hard to find sometimes.
No,
right
for
now.
sure.
Megan, do you see that attitude changing slowly but surely? Somebody maybe a couple of years ago that would never, I'm not going to take marijuana to you know, fix me. That I can't do that. To now looking at it as an option and maybe in a lot of cases a solution.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more of that. And I think that's a great point because I think, you know, we've actually seen studies come out that show that there are people who have never touched marijuana their whole lives. They could be in their 50s or 60s. And now they're saying to themselves, like, okay, well, if it's legal recreationally as well, I think the legal, you know, the recreational legalization in 2018 really changed things for a lot of people. But I think it's really important that we make sure those folks are going into the right stream, you know, because a lot of them are going recreational, which is great if that's what you're using it for. But if you're going to use it to treat symptoms or conditions, you really want to be in the medical stream because you're going to get all of the support and education you need that you cannot get in the rec side of the business.
Well, you know, that's absolutely true because a lot of people say, I tried this strain and it's helped me with this thing, whether it's sleep disorder or anxiety. But what MD Connected brings to this space is the idea that it's people that are knowledgeable with the symptoms, with the disease, and also the correct strains and the correct amounts. And, you know, you're not just hearing it from a friend. And as you say, because you've partnered with Medical Cannabis by Shoppers, you know that, you know, you can use your, I'm going to assume you can use your insurance now for this.
Yeah. So in terms of the actual consultation for the medical document with MD Connected, if you're in Ontario, it's covered by OHIP because our physicians are licensed in Ontario. So we're covered by OHIP. You can also access us through BC, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Quebec. But that's a fee for service, so it's $50 to do the consultation. We're working to expand and get on those provincial health plans as well. So hopefully in the near future, those will also be covered by those provincial health plans. But you know, we're working our way. This company has only been around for 3 years. It's a startup, so we're expanding. And obviously, COVID has been challenging for everybody.
Yeah.
So we're doing our best to make our services available to as many provinces as possible. And I think that's important. We need to make sure people have access to this stuff.
And it is important to get the word out and for people just to know that this is an option. I mean, I went through it with my father-in-law, and it was the same thing. It was just, he wasn't going to go there, but then slowly came around.
So let's just make sure before we let you go, Megan, MD Connected, and by the way, you keep saying telehealth. I want everyone to know you can have this consultation over the phone or in digitally, and it can be sent to Shoppers. But I just want to know the website is
So the website is www.mdconnected.ca, and the medical cannabis consultations are by appointment only. So in the specialist appointments where it says book appointment, you're going to click there. You're going to fill out a form with some, personal information like your name and phone number and health card and all that stuff. And then we're going to book an appointment with one of our physicians, and we're going to triage you and get you set up and go through the process. If you don't want to do it online, you can call us at 1-877-406-9362. And one of our care coordinators will happily set up the appointment if that's easier for you.
Megan Henderson, what a great pleasure to have you back on the show.
Awesome to be here.
It's not for the last time.
Okay.
End meeting and prosper.
Thanks, guys.
And
Thanks, Megan.
We'll be talking about MD Connected now for the next little while. Great to have you with us.